one's not enough. We'll have at least 2, maybe even 3 races coming on.
Okay, and we're starting.
Yeah,
right first for both. Very cool. So,
yeah, I wasn't sure if we'd see a difference in routes or not.
Yeah. Right first being the safer of the 2 routes to go for, due to having to not use balloons in going Pharaoh first means that, or I guess to be specific, if people don't know, that the alternative is Pharaoh first. And in Pharaoh, you get the balloon adapter, which is a very, which is something that's used a ton in this speedrun and has a lot of really good uses. And,
yeah. We'll see balloon coming. The nice thing about going Pharaoh first is you can use it to skip some of these grasshopper sections that we're seeing both of them on right now. That's nice to avoid some of the RNG, but it's also very difficult. So, kind of an ideal situation. You're saving about 6 to 7 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. 6 seconds.
So
both these guys doing a really good right so far. Pretty good. No deaths or the RNG for the crickets has been okay.
They look to be fairly even. Some slight differences in strategies. I saw like cassiothird going for mashing down the little gachapon machine. Things like that are slight differences, but about a second different going into a Brightman fight here. And the fight is going to be significant. You got to be a little bit careful about how you do things here.
Absolutely. So the strategy here is you want to be using your buster, and if I recall correctly, before you fire off your third shot, you want to hit him at least with one lemon, due to the fact that if you're it sets it up so that the way Brightman works is that depending on what his HP is, he'll flash, and if you manipulate it, you can make it so that you'll never have to worry about him flashing during the fight and stopping you, which can waste a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a very careful calculation to make sure that you don't end up on those specific health values. 16, 8, and 4, I believe, are what you have to avoid. So by getting that one limit in with the other charge shots, should keep yourself there. And now we get to see the nice thing about Pharaoh Second is you've got Flash Stopper for this beginning part of Pharaoh. And so we'll use that to flash and then just move nice and carefully all the way across these these little quicksand sections, not having to worry about shooting anything, just keep moving.
Also, to mention that if either of those our runners had fallen down that pit, it would have been disastrous. Due to the fact that it takes a while to get to a spot where you need to game over, and you would need to game over unless you were going to be doing the rest of the run without balloon, which I don't think any of these people are willing to do. So
yeah.
They're in the clear.
We don't want to see any balloonless runs. It certainly can't happen. Oh man.
Cassio takes an unfortunate death, and the spike's there, but it's not that bad because he's, it's not too far in. That's a tricky part. I know exactly what went on there, and this can be a pretty hard stage, so it's understandable.
Yeah, it happened many a times. Always unfortunate when you see it happening in a race, but these little sections are tricky. Prisi is in the boss fight, just going with pretty much just charge shots all the way through, and handled that quite well.
Yes. And now we got Cassio coming up to Pharaoh. And, we'll see here how he does. Hopefully Pharaoh's not too hoppy. You don't want him to be jumping around too much, and you want him ideally to be finishing near the center of the screen. So that's not too bad. Not too bad in the fight. And so prisi is now on to Ringman stage, which is a very finicky stage where your ammo management and health management is pretty important, because you're going to be seeing him doing some skips here against some mini bosses. I'll have you to take some deboosts. And if your ammo management, or if your health management isn't right, then you lose quite a bit of time having to wait.
Yeah, you end up with just a very technical stage, because you're just really making sure that you're taking the hits that you want to take and none of the extras, and you're using the ammo you want to take and no extras. So it ends up being a little bit scary, kind of no matter what. If it goes perfectly, it's a little scary, in my opinion.
Oh no, Cassio falling there. That's too bad. Prisi, I believe, is unfortunately going to have to take the D-boost by having to wait and take the damage from the ring boss here, because it would deal 8 damage if he were to run right into it, so instead he has to take 4.
And as he gets into this fight, we're going to have Ringman doing 4 damage from his ring projectiles and 8 damage from body contact.
Right, so he can't
take a single hit here.
Yeah. Going for the classic quick kill there. Oh. Very cool fight, very clean.
Does it perfectly, yeah.
And unfortunately, Cassio's health is also a bit low here, so he's going to have to take the damage boost by waiting at the mini boss. And he's going to be in the same situation where he can't get hit at Ringman as well. So we're heading over to Dust with prisi here. This is a very scary stage. Lots of very scary parts.
Yeah. We got our the first screen here with little gap stoppers that can ruin your day. Okay, prisi's going to go with Bright, which is a fairly easy strat to eliminate those guys. Then you come up on the lag room. Very easy to have something go just a little bit wrong. And then we also have the Crusher and Dustman stage. So lots of places where things can go wrong. It's good.
I guess also to note that cassiothird had used a separate strat there on Ringman. That's a bit faster, I think, if I recall correctly. But a bit scarier. So here we go, using the rings, and he's going to use I don't really know how to quite describe this, but it's a very scary part coming up here. It looks like he's going to get squished, but he's actually fine. Due to the hitbox of Mega Man when he's sliding.
Oh man, Cassio's scaring me with the Pharaoh strats.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so it's good to have a showcase here of, the alternate weapon you can use.
So that, what we saw with prisi, where it looked...
Oh boy!
Oh man. Yeah, it's just always scary. I think Cassio really was in kind of fine shape the whole way there, but it just seems so scary. And on the one gap stopper at the beginning of the stage, he very smartly turned around and took a back D-boost to make it across the little gap there. But everything in this game, but this stage in particular, just looks scary. It's just all so close to death all the time.
I know, yeah. Prisi having a bit of a hiccup there versus Dustman. Unfortunately, he got some bad luck where Dustman sucked, and when he does that, you have to run into him. So you want to make sure, and he deals 8 damage upon contact. Like like most of the bosses in this game. So you want to make sure he doesn't do that. But he also got a center of the room kill, which is nice.
And we just saw the only zip that we expect to see in this run from Prissy.
Yep.
And Skullman stage is a really fun stage. We're gonna see a lot of balloon usage, a lot of really smooth movement. He's putting on a show right now. It's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is a very cool speed stage. You know, lots of those balloon wall jumps. I guess if it hadn't been described before, these balloon wall jumps. If you summon the balloon into the wall, if you're fast enough, you can still jump off of it as if it were there, even though it doesn't. The actual sprite of it doesn't show up. So that's how you're getting. These runners are getting those jumps that look like wall jumps.
Let me see, Cassio's going to be going for the same thing. Very nice zip for him as well. Skullman stage is just such a great one for good, clean movement. I love it.
For sure. It looked like Prissy going to get that back D-boost off of the final Skeleton Joe there, but kind of falling in front of him and then having to turn around and shoot him. Let's see, with Dustman, we can... we're getting a long shield pattern there, which is pretty unfortunate. That's not what you want to see. He can do a very, very quick. Shield or a very long shield. It's really it's up to him.
Yeah. That was
our skull. It's up to Skull.
And Skullman is entirely dependent on what pattern he gives you is from the movement that you do, but that shield is the thing that is entirely random. So
that's right. The rest of the fight is
a little bit of bad luck.
Yeah.
But otherwise a good fight. And on to Dive Man. We'll kind of keep an eye on Cassio and see what kind of luck he gets.
So yet another stage using mostly the time stopper or flash stopper.
I know it's.
I don't want to screw that up. But so I guess the scary thing here about the stage is that in this game, when you're underwater, you can't jump out of your slides. So you have to cancel your slide by pressing backwards and then forwards again to jump. And it's a very scary. It's a very scary thing to do. So it doesn't really look like Prissy is attempting many of those here. So Prissy switches to Skull Shield, which is the weakness of Dive Man coming up here. And this is this fight is kind of scary because you need to be staying next to Dive Man and due to Skull Shield being so close to you,
Yeah, it ends up being a pretty easy fight, but also one that can go real wrong real quick. But Prissy did very well there. I think he might have put one Skull Shield into iframes, but didn't really matter because he was quick on it. And then he got the animation skip there, jumping up to where Mega Man would be as you on the normal item get animation, but using the water physics to allow him to jump up there. He's able to save about 80 or 90 frames, about a second and a half. So that's a nice little trick to pull off, save a decent amount of time, and on to the second to last Robot Masters Drill Man.
Yeah, and once again, this stage using Bright for saving a lot of time in these rooms by stopping these enemies in their tracks. And I don't know if we had mentioned earlier, but when you use Brightman's weapon while you're. I think it's a 5 minute. Sorry, 5 minutes. It's a 5 second freeze, but it's yeah. But while you're sliding, it doesn't count. So when especially coming up into, you'll see coming up to this last room here. If the sliding is tight, it's never going to unfreeze. So that's what you want to be doing. Is you want to be chaining your slides together so tightly that there's no stopping. And Prissy having to use it again there.
Yeah, I think it's so fun just kind of using that as a measure of when you're practicing how good your movement is when you can use all these rooms where you're using Flash Stopper to just kind of keep trying to go as far as possible without having to reuse it again. Prissy used it about in the same spot that a lot of folks it runs out, but quite good movement, and we're hoping for a good drill man pattern. We got one extra dive, but looks like that's it. Not too bad. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Every dive can lose 4 seconds, so if and that is completely up to Drillman. So that's actually very great for Prissy there to not get dives. And we'll see how Cassio goes. Coming right up to him now. Cassio not too far behind. Really.
Yeah, we got a pretty good race going here.
Mm-hmm. Especially for having taken that death. I think he's doing good. Oh, unfortunately, we got a dive there.
Just immediately went
boy.
And again, man.
Rip.
Drill man. Just never.
Being kind to Cassio.
Never cool.
Oh boy. Well, he can at least manipulate him out here and get a center of the stage kill there,
Yeah, get anything you can from it, right?
Yeah.
That's harsh. We will see Drillman again, and we didn't talk about it too much. I think we mentioned it, but Dustman is the other one that loves to kind of play with you. So when we get to the end of the game, we'll get to see those guys again and have another chance for them to ruin our day. But right now, Prissy using that Flash Stopper again to just cruise through old Toadman stage, having a very clean stage.
Yeah, for sure. Got these slides.
And real nice little cancel, shooting the fish just in case. And going into Toadman a little under 18, should be a pretty quick kill. We should have a fairly low 18 time out of 8 robos. That's very good.
Toadman fight pretty easily manipulated. You just kind of, he goes to jump onto you, and you just kind of keep going to the middle of the screen and to get that center of the screen kill. And so now Prissy's off to Cossack 1. Done with the 8 robos, and on to the second part of the game here.
Mega Man 4 is one of those where you've got we've got a lot of castle stages ahead of us. So by being done with the 8 robos, you're about halfway there. Really, you've got a lot of game left. So this is kind of interesting point, and Prissy's built a pretty good lead despite that death from Cassio, also just from really clean movement. But there's a lot to go. It's far from over at this point.
Oh yeah, lots of scary things ahead.
And slinkies.
And
lots
stinkies. Yeah. So, we got Prissy here mashing down these slinkies. Very nice. And then once he gets up to the roof of the section here, he's going to be coming up to the one of the notoriously hard and very scary rooms of this game, the Skeleton Joe hallway. It's icy, there's lots of enemies, there's lots of hits, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean it's hard with speed strats, but casually that little room that Prissy just cruised through no problem is terrifying. That is such
Yeah.
a difficult section.
Ooh, Prissy missing a balloon there, which might not be that big of a deal depending on whether or not he decides to use balloon in Cossack 4. Because the management of that is pretty tight. Because, you know, in Cossack 2, he's going to be using a ton of balloons to make it through the spiky hallways.
Yeah, I don't think the one extra balloon will be a big problem for Prissy since he's generally just so skilled at knowing what's going on in the game. But it might.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, what he does in Cossack 2, what he does in Cossack 4, there's a chance he might have to adjust things slightly.
Right, he might have to go rush in Cossack 4.
As we can see, Cassio making it through that same little section, switching to balloon.
Mm-hmm.
So about a half stage behind at this point. Still pretty close. We got a lot that could happen here. Very nice balloon jumps from Prissy. That's a tricky strat to get through that second room of Cossack 2.
Clean stage from Cassio here. Getting into Mothraia.
And very nice movement across the spike room.
Ooh.
Oh, Mothraia doing some jukes.
Oh boy, yeah, it can be pretty tricky hitting that, hitting the hitbox there.
And that ends up being something that you have to pay attention to as well, because a lot of the ammo management is very tightly routed through all of these castle stages. So miss 2 shots, it looks like, on the ring. Probably not a big deal, but it is something Cassio might kind of have to keep in the back of his mind when he's thinking about ammo when we get towards the end of the game and the refights and all that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Alright, so another very RNG heavy boss coming up here. Let's see. Okay, that's unfortunate. That's a 3. So you can get either 1, 2, or 3 patterns for the square machine. This is going to go for the 5 hit, of course. Oh boy, that's so stupid. That's so
yeah, using that damage boost, but now just any mistake is
3-3. 3-3. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah, 3-3. The worst pattern. I think I trust Prissy's gonna finish this off. Yeah, there we go. In a 2 cycle. But you're both at the mercy of the boss as well as trying to do it as optimally as possible. Prissy did it very optimally, just got bad luck.
Yes. So, what do we got? For Prissy, we got no dives, 3-3. He had a bad skull shields. Let's see what Square Machine has in store. Okay, that's a 2.
Yeah, it's a little bit better already. Also gonna use that damage.
Oh, so scary!
Oh man.
Wasn't able to get the 5 hits off there. We got 2-3, so
that's the
typical,
most common pattern.
Yeah.
And not a big difference from what Prissy got. Just a few seconds of unlucky pattern.
Yeah, he's in.
And Prissy's into everyone's favorite auto-scroller, Cossack 3. One of those kind of deceptive stages where you spend so much time just kind of hopping around on platforms. You're in this auto-scroller that you can't change the speed of. It seems pretty easy, and it usually is until something goes just a bit wrong, and then you fall in a pit and lose. So, not one that you want to, I don't know, lose your concentration on.
Yeah. So you can see Prissy here. Your goal in this second half of the stage is to be you want to be killing these enemies and getting these platforms off of the stage as possible due to lag. And if you have Pharaoh Shot powered up and you don't attack with it, you don't lose any ammo from it, so it's perfect for this.
Yeah, just use that little ball floating above your head. And I guess we haven't really mentioned that, but that's one of the big reasons that Fair Shot is such a great weapon. Oh, and we got a little moonwalk from Prissy, so it's good. Being able to charge it and use the shot above your head as well as throwing the normal shot is part of why Fair Shot can be so successful. On Cockroach Twins, this is the weakness anyways, but we see a lot of utilization of that. Jumping into it, and then as soon as the iframes run out, throwing it again. Prissy got the very ideal fight. That is entirely scripted, so getting that hit right in the middle or even closer to the left. Oh, Cassio's...
Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, that's so unfortunate. Wow.
That's kind of like what I was mentioning. It seems so simple until it's not. And just the slightest mistake means a lot of time loss on this stupid stage.
And I guess as we had predicted, due to there being a lack of balloon, he has to use Rush Jet here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
A little awkward. Okay.
That's so scary because of the bats.
The bats didn't start moving right away, which was nice for Prissy there. But that is awkward. You might have to reset the room or whatever. And Cassio, I do think could have switched to Rush Jet to make that across, but it's not something you plan on, and so I think it was a little more on the screen, and he just kind of tried to make the jump the best he could. But I think
I don't blame him.
Could have saved it, but yeah, that's hard to... It's easy to say in hindsight.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, so Cossack Catcher cannot move left or right while you're sliding, so you're manipulating him here. As you can see, they have like very particular times, or Prissy is, that's why he's dashing at in that particular rhythm there to be manipulating Dr. Cossack.
And here's our big time plot development. Dr. Cossack, not such a bad guy after all. But Wily betrayed him. Wily says, "I'm going to break you, Mega Man."
Goes on to become... Dr. Cossack goes on to become our friend, and he makes beat and upgrades Mega Man's Mega Buster in 5.
I didn't realize that Cossack was the one that designed Beat. There you go.
So we're in the Met stage now. Wily won, so we're heading on to this is the final castle. This is a very fun stage, I find. A lot of cool. This is a very cool stage here. Room where you're basically just holding forward the whole time. You know, and you have to avoid those bullets at the end. And here's another underwater part where you're not able to jump out of your slides.
Yeah, I think this is such a cool... The whole stage of Wily 1 is so cool, thematically having nothing but Met enemies, aside from that little saw blade thing. But it's also, it's a very tough stage. Obviously, Mets are invulnerable a lot of the time, and so you've got to time your shots just perfectly. You've got to have your movement very clean and crisp. And then as we get to the boss, which is, of course, a giant Met, you also have to be pretty careful about all of your movement and hits to make sure that this goes well.
Alright, so that's a fast, that's not, I mean fast as in, it's slow for prisi, but like, it's the fast pattern the Met Daddy makes, and that's not good, having 2 of those.
Yeah.
So hopefully if he's got a 6 pattern here, then it'll be good. So yes, prisi.
Okay, no problem.
Prisi was able to get that. Cassio heading into Wily 1 here. He had a good Cossack catcher fight himself. So
yeah, so difference of basically exactly a stage at this point. Cassio was, I mean, it's a little hard to say, but a bit lucky that at least the death in Cossack 3 was earlier rather than on the Cockroach Twins or something like that. So it's a costly one, but certainly not gonna decide the game right there.
So we're in the doggo stage here, where you have Rush Jet equipped for practically the entire stage, and you're going to be using him to get through stuff. Kind of something interesting to note, so you have to press the button to summon Rush before you can shoot, so you need to be summoning him before you make these shots, so that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it can be a little awkward sometimes if you're just kind of going off of normal Mega Man muscle memory kind of things for trying to shoot, because that first one does just call him in. It's not until he's on the screen. But if you've been practicing it, like Prissy clearly has, you can see very smooth movement. Well, I like using the rush to make that corner jump a little bit easier. We saw Rush coming in handy to do the earlier in the kind of hyper room. Lots of usage of Rush, but also just keeping him out because you can fire the Buster and there's no reason to spend the menu time to get off of him. And we got no drill on Taco Trash.
Oh, this is not looking cool.
Yeah.
This is scary. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, okay. Luckily, Prissy is a beast and just handles it. Just plays the game better than most of us mere mortals.
That was intense. Yeah.
But we'll probably see it with Cassio. I'm not positive, but you can use drill bombs to just destroy the hurt box of the Taco Trash enemy there on Wily 2. And so it ends up being a very, very safe fight, but it's a little bit slower. And so Prissy didn't want to take that time in that extra menu, went straight to ring.
Yep.
But that made it a scary fight.
Yes. So heading into refights now. We're getting pretty close to the end. So a lot of ammo management here. So the difference between fighting the bosses in the refights here versus fighting them in the arena and their respective stages is that you want to be finishing on top of or as close as possible to the teleporter, so that you get immediately transported out. So the strats kind of differ a bit.
Yeah, I think the Mega Man 4 refights are some of the more interesting ones because, like you mentioned, you're instead of trying to get kills right in the middle of the room, you're trying to get the kill right by the teleporter and get out. But then you also have some different strategies so that we can minimize menus and so that you can maximize ammo usage. And so we'll kind of see that starting after this one. Prissy's on Skullman. Didn't get a great skull pattern, but it shouldn't be a big deal in the grand scheme. But then coming after Dive Man here, we'll see some kind of interesting usage of different weapons than what we saw originally.
Cassio using the drill to break the shield there. So Prissy is going to be wanting to use Skull Shield on sprite an odd number of times here. If he doesn't, then the Rain Flush will be bumping him into dangerous HP territory where he would freeze him, which you don't want, of course.
Yeah, very well done to set that up. Now, Drillman, again, this is one of our big sources of RNG. We're going to cross our fingers and hope that we don't see any dives besides that initial one. No.
Uh-oh.
And of course.
Oh no. Okay. One is like whatever, I feel, but two.
Yeah.
He's gonna grab the health, which is very understandable. Toad.
There is a slightly different strategy or order through the refights here that Baron Haynes did some work on, some kind of theory crafting, and I saw Prissy practicing it, kind of playing around with it a few days ago, and so I wasn't sure if he would bust that out now or not, but he's going to stick with the kind of traditional route. But I do wonder if anybody kind of in the back half of the tournament will decide to go with that little bit newer strategy or not.
Well, I saw Darko. Darko had done it.
Okay.
A while ago. I think ultimately, if done correctly, it saves a second.
Yeah.
Oh no, Prissy getting really bad luck here. Oh,
yeah.
That's really bad.
And used all of his health. So I do think we mentioned this before, but Dustman sucks. He'll do that sucking animation, and you can block it or stop it by running into him. But as we've mentioned for sure, the Robot Masters do a ton of damage. It's 8 hit points for body contact. So you can only run into Dustman a couple times, and when he just continually does it, like we just saw, not much you can do.
I feel, I guess, like, it's 8 for everyone except for Pharaoh.
Except for, yeah, that's true.
Where his Pharaoh shot does 8 versus him doing 4, I think.
Prissy did have a very nice fight through the Wily Machine, though, especially considering he was dealing with somewhat low health.
Yep.
And so we are into our kind of final hallway and then the capsule fight.
Yep. Cassio just having not great luck with dust this entire run. The nightmare's over.
Alright. He's going to have to use Pharaoh Shot in this last part. He's in pretty good shape on ammo, but you do have to be careful because it can disappear very quickly. And what you're hoping is a place where you can get, just like that, a hit with it above your head as well as the thrown one. Double hits are the best case scenario. Okay. Smart movement to not have to throw that one. Very nice.
38-16. Very good race time. GG to Prissy.
As we had mentioned earlier, Prissy did just get a new PB yesterday, so 1 minute and 3 seconds off of PB time. That's pretty impressive. Pretty awesome.
Hoping that Cassio has enough ring here, but I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, it is looking a little low, but I think it'll be all right.
I'm scared. Oh, okay, he had just enough.
And using those drill bombs, it's so awkward in this fight, having to explode those before you get to the before it gets to the capsule. You have to hit B again to explode it, and so that's always awkward.
Yeah, for sure.
Cassio handles it well, going into now our last Again, hallway and the capsule fight. And these little caterpillars that drop down are spaced in just such a way that it's if you just do 2 complete slides, you'll run into them. So it's very awkward to have to. It looks like Cassio is just jumping out of his slide to cancel it a little bit earlier. You have to do something to cancel it just a bit so that you don't just slide face first and start out on low health.
Oh yeah. That room is deceptive. It's got some weird movement.
Ooh, okay, Cassio, be careful. Be careful with ammo. There we go. Very nice.
Right.
So 40-25 for
GG Cassio. So
that's a very good time in a race setting, especially.
pretty cool. Also to have prisi and Cassio up against each other in 4, having them be contemporaries in Mega Man 3.
Yeah, Cassio, probably not as well known for Mega Man 4, but just an extremely talented runner all the way around. And then prisi, of course, all Mega Man games, but 1 through 6, is just a fantastic runner. So we kind of knew this was going to be an exciting one, and that first race lived up to the hype. That was good.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, hang on one sec. Okay, so this is a best of 3. That was our first race. We'll be getting set up for our next one here as quickly as we can, and get going back to it. All right, so yeah, hang tight with us for just a minute, folks. We're trying to see if we can kind of figure out what's going on with the IRC channel for Speedruns Live. Might have to do a little bit of improvisation, but we'll get it figured out here pretty quickly. Okay, so we are getting going again. A little bit of minor technical difficulties from everyone, not really anything we could avoid. But we are going to get going with our second race of the best of three here, and in just a second. There we go, and they are off.
All right. Here we go. Crickets be kind.
So personally, I always think that jump that Prissy just did, and then Cassio, that jump is so scary. You're usually doing it in the dark. Oh man, Cassio just didn't get the jump out of the slide.
Oh no. And Prissy not going for the... If you get the short hop there, there's a very tight jump you can make that's very specific, that has very specific movement and timing, and he didn't go for it. It's kind of scary to go for in a race, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say it's scary to go for PB attempts, but it's very scary.
For sure. Alright. So, we got it.
And,
pretty good. Big hops. Hop. Big hop.
All of Brightman's stage is just, besides a lesson in kind of futility, trying to deal with the various patterns that you can get, there's just so much little optimization, just making sure that when you come out at the top of the ladder, you're sliding as quickly as possible. You're getting to the right side of the grasshoppers as quickly as possible. Lots of the little things, because so much is not in your hands. So you're just trying to get any bit of time you can out of anywhere in the stage.
Definitely. And killing these kind of little ladybug-like guys for lag. You want to kill them.
Managing lag is...
Oh no! Prissy, what on... Oh my gosh.
How? How did that happen?
Prissy, he must have accidentally shot early, messing up the.
Getting the timing off on the damage was one thing, but then also it seemed like he was frozen there, and Brightman just jumped on him and was on top of him for a while, and I think that was a little strange.
Yeah, that was weird. Cassio unfortunately missing the magic pixel there, something we hadn't really spoken about. So there's 2 pixels, one depending on what direction you're facing, at the end of each stage, which can bypass a Mega Man having to jump and then, fall down into the middle of the screen, and it saves, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. It must be a second or so.
Yeah, I think it's very close to a second. I'm not sure. Maybe a few frames here, more or less.
But memorizing them is free, but I guess that an annoying thing about them is that they are you can get kind of messed up by subpixels. So what you have to do is if you aren't able to get the pixel, you have to slide to try and reset your placement to get them again. And then sometimes you can just kind of get screwed over by slides at the end, and then it can be kind of stressful.
Yeah, it can be totally free, or it can be absolutely impossible. It's it just kind of depends on where you end up. And we mentioned it in Dive Man, I don't think we mentioned it in Pharaoh, but we'll see with both these guys, not only is the magic pixel available in every stage, but in Pharaoh and Dive Man, you can try to get the little animation skip if you jump at just the right time.
That's right.
And it's a very tight trick. You not only have to be on the right pixel, but also have the right timing. I think it's frame perfect, or at least very close. We'll see if Prissy goes for it here.
Oh, Prissy had jumped, anticipating that he was going to jump. He took that gamble there.
Oh, and Prissy got it.
Oh, beautiful.
Pharaoh Man's one of those that the the RNG on his movement is not nearly as bad as Drill or Dust, for instance. But if he's jumping around a lot and making it hard for you to get those hits in just as soon as you have your Buster charged, you are losing time. Oh, and Cassie gets the animation skip as well. Very nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
And our friend Ringman stage again, just like we mentioned last time. Very, very tight stage. Very specific D-boost. Very specific ammo usage.
Unfortunately, getting hit there by that turret.
Yeah, that's a pretty common one. You can avoid it. You can squeeze in between the platform and the turret, but it's very easy to... Oh,
and you just gotta hope it doesn't shoot as well.
Yeah.
It can just screw you over once. Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Yeah, Casio having to take a little bit of a pause. Make sure he doesn't get knocked down. And Prissy having a little bit of issues with some of the Pharaoh shots. I think ammo will be fine, but... Oh, very nice. Back D-boost to get through that hippo quickly.
Yeah. Oh, definitely after getting that drop. But he was in the clear anyway. He's going to be able to slide into this. Oh no! Does that bring him to 8? Yeah, that does. So now he's actually going. Oh, okay. Well, we're back up. So now he's going to be able to once again slide right into this ring mini boss here like that.
Those health drops are something you hate to see in PB attempts. You love to see in races.
Yeah.
It's just too... Alright, and I'm sure Bruce will do just fine. Again, this fight is entirely scripted, so you're going to be doing the same thing every time. That doesn't necessarily mean it's easy to do, though. But Bruce is showing off how it's done.
Great.
A little swag fair shots as well.
Yep. Oh,
Cassie missed a shot.
that's not good.
Yeah,
that's not good.
out of ammo now.
Oh boy.
And now this fight gets a whole lot harder. Now, had enough health, okay. Had enough health to take that one ring hit, which is often not the case, and then finish it off. So, handled it just fine, but that's good. Ricky again, just cruising through with Dustman.
Yeah.
Missing one limit on that last shield guy. That's something else that is probably obvious by now, but I don't think we mentioned is when you use Flash Stopper, some of the enemies that would normally be invulnerable are now you're able to shoot them no matter what. So the Skeleton Joes are one that fits there. Those shield enemies that normally you can't shoot from the front. There's probably a few others, but I think those are the ones that you really encounter in the run. But that's another very nice thing about Flash Stopper.
We got a clean, very clean crushers there. Oh, except for the end, he got held back there a little bit, but not that big of a deal.
The hitbox for Mega Man becomes really strange and small when you're sliding. It's about the size of Mega Man's eyes, really. So it's a little bit off the ground and also a little bit lower than it looks like Mega Man's head is when you're sliding. So you've got more room to work with when you're sliding, but that crusher section always looks scary. Just aware of
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh,
That sucks.
Prissy.
Man.
Prissy could take a hit. He could have taken a hit there. I think he's just was too scared to count his ammo.
Yeah, probably kind of trying to look
He's
at
at 9.
everything and see where he's at, but
Yeah.
when you're in the middle of the fight at the same time, it's hard to count. Did everything he could. Dust was kind of a jerk, but
Yeah, that was a pretty bad RNG there. Oh boy.
Cassio immediately gets the suck as well.
Oh, good. Wow.
Alright, back to Skullman stage. So much fun just seeing this stage done well. The zip is of course super clean, and then all of the damage boosting and balloons to go up the vertical sections. I just love this stage.
Yeah, very cool stage. Very impressive.
So you get a little unlucky, kind of got sniped by the one Skeleton Joe, and then missed the time to jump just slightly to go over the shield guy there. But not a big deal. This is going fine. We don't need your one-ups, Eddie.
Cassio getting the skip. Oh, very nice second room there.
Yeah.
Cassio as well.
Oh, and then also had a little tricky spot there. That balloon in the room that Cassio just went through to kind of jump past the shield enemy that's coming at you. I always think that's so scary because you can crush yourself with the balloon, and that's how that zip works in the first place. Is you kind